first heard Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, on a podcast back in, we think, 2016. And we thought, how simple. And we just started moving our own base pay to the beginning of the month rather than the end of the month. We're really glad we did that. But we're even more glad that we went full in on implementing Profit First January 1st of 2019. No, it was not a New Year's resolution. It was actually the culmination of about 2 to 3 years of seeing even that simple shift of our personal income at the beginning of the month instead of the end of the month have a dramatic impact on us and our experience of the business. So today, we're going to look back at the 5 years of full implementation of Profit First and share what we love, what we hate, and most importantly, how we're implementing Profit First 5 years into it. So if you're a newbie, this will show you how to implement a little bit at first. But if you've been doing Profit First for a while, we've got some tips that'll really help you take it to the next level. Keep going with it as you and your business grow.
Hey, and welcome to Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast. We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you need to go, you need wealth wisdom and maybe a little bit of profit first.
Oh, yeah.
So don't forget, hit that subscribe button. And if you're watching on YouTube, write a comment, leave us a review. I did hear just the other day, someone said our episode we did a couple episodes back was our best episode we've ever done. That was
Banking on Yourself, how it's going 10 years later. So
yeah.
Now we're doing Profit First, how it's going 5 years later.
Yeah, they said it was the best episode ever. I was like, oh man.
We'll see if they think this one eclipses it.
Maybe.
We'll see.
So thanks for that review, by the way.
Yes. Okay, first, to understand today's episode, we do recommend going back and listening to the last two, that one about banking on ourselves and how it's going 10 years later, as well as we did one about why budgeting doesn't work and what does, which is a lot of my story with budgeting. I'm more the budget nerd in the duo here.
What?
I am. And the concepts that we shared about banking on ourselves and about the budgeting are building blocks that helped us when we came across Profit First. We didn't have those two. We probably would have come to Profit First in a different way. So those stories are 2013 and 2014. Of course, I just shared Profit First we came across in 2016-ish and then went in full implementation 2019. You're still going to get a lot out of today's story if you don't go back and listen to those last two episodes, but I think you'll get even more if you do. So I want to give you that kind of heads up.
And if you're a business owner, you're going to love this for business. But if you also are a person that has your own side gig or contractor, the same things are going to apply there. And it's really, really helpful to see.
Well, let's get into it. What is Profit First? For those that may or may not be familiar.
I don't know. You tell me what it is. I mean, I think I know what it is, but what do you
Okay. At its simplest, Profit First is a principle that states that rather than having your revenue minus expenses equals profit, you have your revenue minus profit equals expenses. So you're putting profit ahead of expenses, flipping the typical accounting practices on their head. So at its most core, that's what Profit First is. Now, from that basic core principle, there are a lot of other principles, and there's actually steps to implementing Profit First, where you have a series of bank accounts. You move money from income into those different bank accounts in a certain order, because what you do first gets done first,
Yep.
And what you do last doesn't get done. And so you put your profit first, your owner's comp, then taxes, and then finally operating expenses. And then another core principle is that profit is a habit, not an event. There's all kinds of, using smaller plates, by breaking down that money into different bank accounts. We're going to show you a little bit more of what Profit First is, but that's what it is at its most core, is a set of principles and ideas with actions to implement those, 12 steps. Essentially.
Well, and I feel like a lot of times I hear people say, oh, well, it's too confusing. It's too many steps. It's too this or that. And what I've come to see is a lot of times it's building the habits of thinking in there, and then we make the actions of what we thought about, and it eliminates some of the thinking time or whatever, because we're able to already know what's in this bucket, what's in this bucket, and what's in that bucket.
Yeah. And I would say it's also really helpful because there's two of us with very different ideas with our business, what that we should use the money for, those kind of things. So to adopt these principles and these steps as part of the core of how we do cash flow management of our business, we fight way less often about, can we buy this? Should we spend that? Because we see the money broken down into those smaller plates, and we can determine more easily if we have the money to do that or not, and if it makes business sense to do it or not. It's the only thing we have to fight about.
Yeah.
So it really helps too.
Yeah. And I've had people say, I'm in a group, and they said, oh, well, profit first doesn't work. They've heard if you're doing accrual bookkeeping or something like that. And for me, what do you say? If somebody's saying, oh, it doesn't work with this, or I'm doing this, why would it or wouldn't it work?
Yeah. So let me talk about accrual versus cash-based accounting is really just when is your revenue and expenses recorded. Okay. With cash-based, it's in the moment. You're recording the revenue and the expenses as they're happening. With accrual, there can be a delay, right? You accrue the revenue, but you might actually receive it later.
Yep.
And profit first works with both. That's actually one of the things I like about all the things we've been talking about in these 3 episodes. Bank on Yourself, Y.N.A.B with its 4 simple rules, profit first, is they're really actually just principles, practices, ways of doing life that are infinitely iterated on, and people all over the world, all different size of businesses are using profit first, and people that use accrual accounting do, and people that use cash do. People that are starting businesses, have larger businesses, they're all doing it. What too many people get stuck in is doing it like they think they should be doing it, rather than asking, how could I make this work? What would it look like to do this in my business, and changing it up a little bit? And I think Mike Michalowicz, from what I know of him, would actually encourage that. You get to the core principles, the core ideas, you try it in the box, but then you start asking, how could I make this work for my business with where I'm at? How would the same principle look like for me?
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think, again, that's the hard part, is people want it needs to work exactly like this to do this or whatever. And the reality is, if you're running a business or living life for that matter, things are a little different for each person.
So we got 3 things we wanted to make sure to share today about what Profit First looks like 5 years in to full on implementation. So we did the whole opening the bank accounts, doing the initial assessment, seeing what our current allocation percentages are, what our targets should be, doing the rollout plan to move from those current to those target. If you've been through that process and now you're working the target, maybe your business is growing like ours has over the last 5 years, you're adjusting those targets as your revenue goes up. You then have to move from one target to the next. This is what it's like to live in profit first. And what we found is that as our business grows, profit first keeps working. Our business has grown a ton over the last 5 years, a ton. And profit first is still working, and it actually works better in some ways. One of the things that is in the Profit First book is this concept, if in doubt, add an account. We're going to show you later how we've added accounts. We've got the core 5, the income, profit, owner's comp, taxes, and operating expenses. And then we have the tax hold and the profit hold at a different bank. But we've actually added a couple of other accounts to that as we've implemented. And we're going to show that in visual form in just a minute. So that was number 1. Profit First still works even as our business is growing leaps and bounds.
And I do like the co-founder Ron Saharan says that all the time, is when in doubt, add an account. And we've done that. And as we grow and you have crazy ideas, you might just put it into a sub account for Brandon's crazy ideas. for
No,
marketing.
we have not done that.
But you could,
We could.
we kind of have it there.
Yeah, well, and some of those accounts do help with, as we've wanted to grow and reinvest profits into the business. How do we do that in a more intentional way? So if you're really curious on that, we're going to get to that soon.
Awesome.
Okay. Number 2 is how we've used Y.N.A.B, You Need a Budget, their software, to implement Profit First super simple and easy, and really see how that's actually helped us, especially with the operating expenses, know where they're going and what they're doing. So I'm going to share the screen and go into that. Okay, here you'll see our real business budget copied over without any numbers in it, but legit, all our different accounts over listed on the side. And then, of course, as money goes into the income account, it shows up as ready to assign at the top. And then we go through and percentage-wise move it to profit, owner's comp, taxes, and then you'll see operating expenses. We actually have broken it out into other categories, other envelopes. And so we can make sure we have enough to pay our staff, to pay for our rent, for our office space, back office things like all those softwares and tools that we use, meetings and travel, and growth opportunities. That's the Brandon's crazy idea envelope. Now, we didn't open up another account for that. We just separate it into different envelopes. But you'll see on the list of accounts, we do have a payroll account because staffing is actually one of our biggest expenses. So we run all of our payroll out of that payroll account for our staff. And we just put it in that category under operating expenses. But that's where we wanted to make sure, instead of a certain percentage going to operating expenses, our target allocation, we broke that into of that operating expenses, a certain amount's going to staffing into our payroll account, and a certain percentage is going into all these other categories, but staying within our operating expenses account. And then you'll also notice we have this thing we call the vault. Now, the vault is mentioned in Profit First in the book, but it doesn't go into a ton of detail on that. What we've found is an amazing tool to use as the vault, which we're going to get to next. Actually,
I mean,
what do you want to say about Y.N.A.B?
I want to say, like, as a person, like as we're running a business and I'm on, phone calls and all of that, having this here, almost like a dashboard, if you will, that I can go and see where things are at in real time is really, really helpful. Right. So if you're running a business and it's not your skill set, finding somebody that does, or, watching the videos, the things that we've created, and have somebody on the team that does that to help make sure you're on the right track. And then having these pieces here just helps me as a business to know if I'm healthy or not. And then if I have a lot of inflow, where do I put that money?
Yeah. And I'll add one, actually maybe two things here with Y.N.A.B. You'll notice we keep it very simple. One of the things that's hard about QuickBooks or Xero is that for other kinds of accounting purposes, a lot of those operating expenses are broken out into different things. Owner's compensation might show up as another line item underneath, like on that profit and loss statement. Taxes might show up there too. It's hard to delineate all these things. And so having this doesn't take a lot of extra time. And yes, the money's still moving between the accounts, not just in the categories, right? We have to move it twice, once from income to the profit account, for instance, and within Y.N.A.B from ready to assign into the profit category here. So, and you'll notice they're in the specific order, right? Profit comes first, and then owner's comp, and then taxes, and so forth. So two different things. One is there's still the accounting software, and that's serving a different purpose than the Y.N.A.B serves. But because of how clear and easy Y.N.A.B is, it's not a lot of extra effort. And then the other thing is we're not just using Y.N.A.B to move the money into the different accounts or different categories. We have the bank accounts and the categories. And it's also a little bit of checks and balances to make sure that they line up. And that's been really helpful.
And I don't go into QuickBooks that often, right?
Well, we even use Xero now.
Yeah, or any of the, I don't go
You don't
into
go
it.
in ever.
Yeah, it's, for me, I'm like, I need to do other things, right? And so knowing your unique giftings, as we move into this other thing, I want to also share, as a business owner, you are connected personally, right? Or private contractor or whatever, to that other thing. That's a business. It might be set up. The way in which we're going to show it is, it's us personally, but if we are not healthy personally, financially, it's going to affect the business. If the business is not healthy financially, it's going to affect us. And so that's why this is on a one sheet, if you will.
Yeah, so we're gonna actually get to that. We're gonna break this into 2 parts. So you got to stay tuned for part 2.
I guess we won't show you that.
What I do want to let everyone know is one of the ways we make this really fast and simple is we actually built a spreadsheet that we can plug in whatever's up here in the to be assigned or whatever's in the income account. We just plug in that one number, and it does all the math for us to say, here's how much should go into profit, how much should go into owner's comp, how much should go to taxes, how much you have for owners or for operating expense, and then how much you also have for payroll.
Yep.
And it's one very simple number to add, and it does all the math. So then you don't have to like go back and forth to the calculator, and it takes a lot of time. If you want that spreadsheet, it's actually part of an online quest or online course that we created called Implement Profit First in 12 Easy Steps. Now, most people who read the Profit First book written by Mike Michalowicz, or they listen to it on Audible, it's fun, they enjoy it, they get inspired, but it takes them about a year of serious work to get all the way through implementing. And most readers actually don't do it. I would probably say maybe half of people that read it, maybe 20%. Who knows? Maybe Mike knows. Still millions of people are implementing this, right? But probably millions and millions of people are reading the book. So we created this short 10-minute video series of 12 videos. So it's 120 minutes of video content with the tools and the resources to implement quickly, like that Google spreadsheet I mentioned.
Yeah. And
so you can walk through it with us. It's available right now. It's at wealthwisdomfp.com/profit. And of course, because it's online videos, you can be doing it on your own schedule, on your own timing, whenever you want. You don't have to show up live or anything like that. So again, that's wealthwisdomfp.com/profit. You can get started today. You don't have to wait till the next episode to jump in there and start implementing. So there you have it. Go be part of Profit First by implementing Profit First in 12 easy steps. Full disclosure, we're Profit First professionals. We're not just practitioners. We have unique insight by being part of the Profit First professionals community, getting to interact with the staff there on a regular basis, hear from Mike in ways that people that aren't professional, big Profit First professionals do. So we've got some of that included in there, things you're not going to find in the book.
Yep. So we will share our next episode. We're going to actually share with that thing that we were saying we're going to share today. But since we want to make these episodes small, 20 minutes or less, right? So you can actually absorb it. Our next episode will be part 2 and sharing, hey, how do we move things and how do we combine the banking yourself concept with the Profit First concept and run an amazing business at the same time.
So don't forget, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode, particularly part 2, and the little notification bell as well if you're watching on YouTube. The comments are open. If there's something you want us to address in future videos, or you have some feedback, you really love this, we'd love to hear from you as well. And finally, we hope that you live long and profit. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice. On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.